In one of the last video of mine, I talked about how mythology influences fiction. Today I'm going to discuss how history influences fiction. When you hear about vampire, what do you think? You think of a Romanian accent person who has pale skin, wears tuxedo, has fangs and have a cape. Well, that is archetypical Dracula. Dracula wasn't the first vampire story, but it was certainly the one which popularized this genre. In fact, all later adaptations of vampires had features heavily inspired and borrowed from Dracula. But what inspired Dracula? Hello everyone, this is Pranav and you're watching Pravyam Now, a channel where I talk about history, mythology, fiction, sometimes food and travel as well. Basically everything related to culture. So, to know about the Count Dracula, the fictional character, let us first know who was the real Dracula. Dracula was a Romanian dynasty which was named after Vlad II. He was known as the Dracul, meaning the dragon. Vlad III was called Vlad Dracula because he was son of the dragon. Son of the dragon Dracula. Vlad III Dracula was Prince of Wallachia who was known for his brutality against his enemies. He basically used to impale his enemies. Impaling is something like you take a wooden stake and make a shawarma out of your enemies. Yeah, something like that. That time, print media was booming industry in German states, and that print media ran a propaganda that Vlad the Impaler also drinks bloods of his enemies, and the image got stuck. Vlad, the blood drinker. Vlad, Dracula, the vampire. Centuries later, Bram Stoker, the creator of Dracula, the fictional Dracula, thought Dracula meant devil, and he named the vampire of his story Count Dracula. So what are the features of Dracula? Sensitive to sunlight? Yes. Pale skin? Yes. Fangs? Yes. Allergic to garlic? Yes. Well, at that time in Eastern Europe there was this is called porphyria, which actually gave pale skins to its patients. They were sensitive to sunlight. Their gums receded, giving a feel like fangs, and when they used to urinate, it used to be red in color, which used to give an impression that they have consumed blood. Also, the sulfur in garlic used to be painful for them, and this is why they used to avoid garlic. Porphyria patients were termed as demonic by then superstitious people, and they were killed off. These features were borrowed by Bram Stoker while writing his novel, and thus we have Dracula, which combines a historical feudal ruler with a disease, and boom, a fiction is created. If we put the fictional Dracula with the historical Dracula, we can compare them. The fictional Dracula is a Count of Transylvania, while the real Dracula, who was Prince of Wallachia, was born in Transylvania. Count Dracula is an undead vampire who lives on to 19th century, while Vlad Dracula was a brutal 15th century ruler who used to impale his enemies, and that was it. Count Dracula lived in Castle Transylvania, Well, Vlad Dracula never been to Castle Transylvania. Count Dracula sucks blood from his victims and in process may infect them into becoming vampires. Something like Porphyria would do. Vlad Dracula used to impale his enemies but is rumored to have drunk their blood, which mostly is not true. Count Dracula have characteristics imported from Porphyria and patients, while Vlad Dracula never had porphyria. While Count Dracula is a villain in popular culture, Vlad Dracula is a nationalist hero for the Romanians. While Vlad Dracula never lived in Castle Transylvania, the locals over there fool tourists into believing that Dracula actually used to live there. So this is how history influences fiction, which influences historical side, making a full circle. Full circle. No? Okay, fine. That was it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and stay tuned to Pravyam now for content related to history, mythology and fiction. This is Pranav signing off. Ta-da! I will drink your blood.